My name is Rhapsody, and welcome back to Monster Train. Also 2. Hang on. How many times am I going to click? That's right, 2. 1, 2, go. Umbra Stygian Guard. I'm getting a lot of MT1 combinations here. Pyre of Entropy with 2 copies of Perils of Production. The base deck is certainly interesting though. Pyre of Entropy, add a Vengeful Shard to your deck after each battle. Draw 1 additional card for each 2 blights in your deck. Obviously, what do you want with that? You want Ember! And there's the Perils of Production to provide it. 0 Ember. My god, excuse me. Didn't know that was about to happen to me. 0 Ember, apply 3 Rage and Ember Drain 2 to a friendly unit. Obviously, you lose 2 Ember on the next turn, courtesy of the Ember Drain 2. However, put this on a Morsel, and Morsel dies by the end of the turn. You just get the benefits. And 2 copies of Energy Siphon, also a 0 cost, apply Spell Weakness 1 to an enemy unit. And finally, the Guard of the Unnamed Incant to apply Armor. So immediately it looks like we're going to have an Incant floor as well as a Penumbra floor, as well as maybe a Gorge floor, depending on what line of Penumbra we get. First off, I guess, let's check the artifact, see if we get Gorging. We do not, but Sigiled Seaweed. Apply Mute 1 when an enemy enters your train. Oh, that's so good. Just a free zone of silence if you use it correctly. I do like the idea of just going for the monstrous line and then running that on its own area. Architect also kind of only takes 1 place if I want to play it behind Guardian Names. Help stack up damage on that floor. No, I really like the idea of going a 3-floor strat. One of them being Incants on the bottom line, one of them being the Trample Penumbra with Monstrous, and another one being Gorge. Should be good. Start a battle, enemy units appear on each floor. That's completely fine by me. They'll all get muted. It won't do anything to them, but they will be muted. And then here's what we do about this. So we simply... Well, hang on. Gotta remember, if I'm ever gonna incant, do it on the bottom line. Simply get a Shade Splitter, pop you up on the top line, give you Perils of Production, and now we're working with Ember. We're cooking with gas. Those all get trampled next turn anyway, so just going to continue incanting on the bottom line. If I Energy Siphon you and hit you with 2 Frozen Lances, you die, and then I use another Frozen Lance, and then the next Forsaken dies, and then I play Magma Morsel on the line, and I can even get the Collector. Hell yeah. Oh, the additional draw here is so good. I'm already drawing 6 cards a turn. Of course, the other side of that is you'll have to draw shards at some point. May as well get some more damage on the bottom line. A little bit of additional energy for the next. I mean, realistically, our fight line is the bottom, but we don't have a huge amount of defense down here. Morsel Jeweler certainly makes a lot of sense on the bottom line, though. Buys us a lot more time. Robo Morsel on the top. We'll start with some energy siphoning on the boss as well. Just to set it up to take a little additional damage to the first... what is it that hits it? I immediately forget the name of the card. It's like Icicle Spear or Icicle Lance or something like that. Frozen Lance! Legitimately, that's not even a bit. I just fully do not remember it when I'm not looking at it. It's blue, and it's an arrow that's pointing in a direction. That's what I can tell you about that card. Strail the Lost is going to come up here, get hit a couple of times. 18 health on the Penumbra. Hang on, I should probably fetch the... Yeah. Okay. I need to fetch both of the morsels first, because obviously if I fetch anything that isn't just energy, I should use that. And the additional HP in particular is very impactful. Ooh, lifesteal. That seems really relevant. Lifesteal, Heralds of Production, throw some damage at him, and that'll do it. Not the cleanest smite we've ever had, I'm not going to tell you that. Oh, wow. Packed morsels and making of a morsel. When I'm already talking about wanting to make this a morsel-based run, the usual downside of packed morsels is that it spikes the amount of morsels that you get on a single turn, but then it's not particularly useful after that fact. I think we can easily, having collected it this early, manage to remove its consumption or give it spell chain or something such like that. Making morsel, I do like having morsel miners, but realistically, I need a critical mass. Ooh, Guardian Stone, incant, apply armor 1 to friendly units, and we can just throw that on the bottom line alongside another, hopefully, incant unit? Merchant of Magic with an Umbra unit next to it, and a Merchant of Steel with the Stygian banner. I'll take anything with incant and anything with Gorge in each of those positions, and I'll just make it work. Multi-strike. Give me Nameless Siren, please. Huh. Huh. Oh, this is interesting. So multi-strike is actually weirdly useless to me right now. Obviously, neither of these holds multi-strike appropriately. Neither of them scales their damage appropriately to be able to use it. However, Titan Sentry, if I throw you on the bottom line and just... Like, you're not my incant floor. That's not what I'm planning right now. Oh, no, but then I don't get an incant in the next area. Stygian banner next to a Merchant of Steel. That would be my last opportunity to pick up the incant that I intend to build the run around. That doesn't sound good. I can just take endless Titan Sentry, right? I take Titan Sentry, I make it endless, I just throw it on the bottom line because why would it not want to go there? And then the rest of the build is Guard of the Unnamed, Guardian Stone behind it, and Penumbra on top line, and then we just throw out a bunch of packed morsels. That's fine for right now. There is an argument that maybe I should reroll here. Part of that argument is that the things that will be often in the top slots will be plus 20 health, as well as on incant gain 2 armor. And if I got incant gain 2 armor as well as dualism, I just throw both of those on the Guard of the Unnamed and I have the biggest tank of all time. $175, and then I'd have on the other end of that 50 to spare, which would be enough to get both stones. I'm gonna try that actually. Endless, reroll. There's the dualism, unfortunately, but I did get exactly enough to get both stones. So we'll give 20 additional health to the Titan Sentry, and incant gain armor 2 to the Guardian of the Unnamed, who obviously would have loved dualism or Titanite there, but I'll settle for gaining, what, 66.6 repeater percent more shield. Fire dampener, -1 energy per turn. It could have been a little bit annoying. I mean, realistically, the worst part of this is that it's going to prevent me from playing the Calcified Ember unless I draw it in the same hand as the Heralds of Production. 1. 2, 3. Realistically, I probably end up throwing rather a Spear Steward behind each of you, so don't want to play the Shield Stewards instead. Guardian Stone will Shade Split to get a single morsel, which I will then double Perils of Production, giving me the ability to play out the Calcified Ember. Hell yeah. And a Vengeful Shard, why not? This bottom line is going to get a decent amount of Frostbite. So the real reason that we do this is if any of the enemies hits the Titan Sentry on the bottom line, pretty much everyone gets swept. So it's got good reach in a way that I don't otherwise have. Penumbra is okay at reaching as long as I've done enough damage to the frontliner. So like a 110 health frontliner, I'm just going to hit that and propagate no damage to the backline. Nice. Oh, Flagellant didn't trigger its ability, so it didn't take 20 damage there, which is actually sad for me. I can't believe I muted my enemy and made them more powerful by doing so. Thankfully, by the time they go to the top line, they will be ready to die. Spear Steward. Then I guess I may as well get a Shield Steward down. I'm going to draw a Spear Steward in the next hand. I'll be able to play it. No, I'm not going to do that then. Actually, that turns out a lot better because I want to play the Lifesteal, and then I need space on the bottom floor to play more morsels. More cells. One great thing about the Sigiled Seaweed over Zone of Silence is Sigiled Seaweed does not say non-boss on it. So it still affects bosses the first round they come in. Which might not be especially deeply consistently relevant, but it is cool. I don't need to take damage this time. Our job on the bottom line is simply to give them a bunch of Frostbite, and then let them ascend to take the damage to the next line. Rubble Morsel top line. Give it the Barrels of Production. Play out all the Vengeful Shards. And then watch the enemy sacrifice themselves upon the brick wall that is the Guard of my Unnamed. Don't tell anyone this. His name is Tony. Shh. Otherwise we'll have to change his name. And I don't mean Tony. Space Prism, Packed Morsels, and Tumbra Assaults. Consistency of morsel generation is really important. We could either get another Packed Morsels and be very powerful in the first round and inconsistent in the second, or an Tumbra Assault. Especially considering I'm about to go to a Merchant of Magic with an Umbra banner next to it, that Tumbra Assault's really appealing. I'll also note that Space Prism does have a little bit of appeal here, but I really think that I'm probably going to end up having to go for Capacity, just so that I can play Penumbra after it becomes 6 size. So if I have to take Capacity as one of my gems, then I suspect Space Prism is much less likely to be relevant to me in the long term. Wow! Wow! Another incant for our incant floor? How dare you? Crypt Builder is also actually not that bad here. Offering a tune, retreat the front enemy unit and apply 80 damage to them. Obviously, with spell weakness, that's pretty good, and, you know, offering tokens are offering tokens, and especially in the Vengeful Shard full deck, I'm definitely taking offering token if it's ever. I guess, presented to me in a way such as I may take. Sure, there's a better word for that. I think Glacial Seal could absolutely. There's nothing wrong with Glacial Seal. And I don't have another incant minion to go behind the Guard of Your Named. What if I just slap a bunch of totems down there? I'm liking it more and more. Well, there's hold over -1. Oh. are a compelling fiend, Shadow Siege. You cost 6, which means unless I have some way to cheat your cost out, I'm not playing you in the deployment phase. The Pyre of Entropy is eventually going to get me drawing 10 cards a turn, so energy is definitely one of the things I take, but I take energy and I take capacity, almost certainly. Alloyed Construct is also here threatening to gorge, but if I'm running sweep bottom line courtesy of Titan Sentry, and then our incant line is Guard of the Unnamed with 2 incant totems behind, and then our top line is Penumbra, I really don't see the position for Alloyed Construct to get that much value. I want it to have a position to get that much value. I want it to have it. Bottom line, after we take capacity, I would be able to play Titan Sentry in front of Penumbra, which would be pretty good for just knocking down big front health units as well as having some reach. Which would then enable me to run a single Alloyed Construct line. Granted, that becomes more problematic when I get my second upgrade. Because if you are 6 size, I absolutely can't run you on the same line as the Titan Sentry. Should I think of it from the other direction? Why should it be Shadow Siege here? Because I can generate pumps of mana on a turn, so if I ever drew it alongside a Perils of... Oh. I almost gave holdover to Antumbra Assault. I'm so glad I spent time on this. Sure, Antumbra Assault probably get -1 costed, but absolutely Perils of... Well, honestly, -1 costing doesn't seem like a particularly powerful upgrade in this run. But holdover absolutely needs to go on the Perils of Production. No ifs, ands, or buts about that one. No matter which of these two I take, I'm taking it for a theoretical future where I can actually run it comfortably. And for what? When you gorge, you just get the ability to hit. You don't get larger. Oh, man. This is a struggle. I almost feel like I take Shadow Siege, and I literally just... I wait until I get a mini stone, and if I don't get the mini stone, I never play the Shadow Siege. Embarrassing stuff, but I'll do it. You gotta hold over the Perils of Production. And I don't need to address any of the other ones first. Ooh. Rare Awoken draft pick. I mean, I immediately know what I want from that. It's the... Actually, it's especially good in this deck. The Awoken Rail Spike, because if I draw any of the Vengeful Shards, I just 0 cost them for the turn, for the run. So I can literally just keep playing those out. Underlegion draft pick that's rare. You know what? Let's actually take a second to look at these. So it is Rare Awoken first. So yeah, there's the Awoken Rail Spike that I was thinking about. Shard Channeler, irrelevant. Those spikes are... Cycle of Life isn't awful. It's not particularly good, though. It's fine. Wildwood Tome's incredible for us. Adaptive Mutation is fine at the moment, but it'll be incredible in the long run. Wildwood is fine. I do like having a single full heal in the deck. Channel Song is also really good for us. It'll oftentimes draw out the totems for us very early. Vine Mother's really good for an incant build. I just don't know where I'd get to play you. Probably on the bottom line if I'm running how I am at the moment. There's a lot of good... Interesting. There's a lot of good rares here. Now, the other options were Pyreborn. Soldier of Fortune, also an early draw. The Avarice will be irrelevant, though. Devilish Tails costs us a lot of HP, but anything that gives me the ability to get Dragon and Horde, I care about. Curse of Dragon Staff, obviously, probably the best hit possible. Incant, deal 1 damage to enemy units. Anything that refers to Pyogel or cooldowns are irrelevant because I'm playing old clans. Zealot's fine. It's very expensive for what it does. It's fine. Hyaclasm would be okay in this clan combination. It's not going to be Pyreborn. There's too few hits. Under Legion, Spike Legion for Propagate X. Really depends on what we've gotten over the course of it. Death Caps, Profit, Rally to draw an additional energy. Sorry, draw an additional card next turn. I'm already going to be drawing enough, thank you. Mitosis Cap for more totems. Could be kind of fun. Tome of Evergrowth. The ability to give some sap and regen to the bottom line would be okay. Unearthed Treasure, whatever. Racking Pain, whatever. Contagious. Contagious I would be able to use to propagate the mute from the bottom line, and that could be fun. Deadly Variant. You can apply some sap with Stygian Guard, so shouldn't be too bad. Balm of Bellow, obviously incredible. You just take it and you find ways to use it. Fungi in a suit. Another unknown. God, I gotta love unknown cards here. It's absolutely Awoken as the choice. Yeah. Am I valid in taking it just because I told you ahead of time that if it was there, I would take it? It's going to be so good because we've got Perils of Production by necessity. Well, not by necessity earlier than it, but if we do draw Perils of Production earlier than it, it will be in the same hand as it. So we'll have the ability to do it for 7. It's so powerful. Archeon gains Rage 4 on Siphon. No, I'm actually not scared of that. That's fine. You're going to gain size after this. I think I have to go capacity first if I ever want to be able to use morsels. Nice. Perils of Production is here. I can even throw an Antumbra morsel on the top line, give it Perils of Production for the additional HP, but also prevents you from even doing any damage to anyone on that top line. Giving some additional damage to the Guardian name makes a lot of sense to me. That's a Spear Steward on the bottom line. Do I care more about incanting for 5 armor or dealing 10 damage? I suspect the answer is actually the 5 armor right now. Especially concerning the fact that that unit is already definitely going to die before it gets to the top line. I don't have to worry about that too much. Glacial Seal. Guardian Stone. Oh, hang on. Oh, no. Wait. What order do I want to do this? I want to play all 3 of these cards in hand, but then I also want the Awoken Railspike to draw as many cards. The cards the Awoken Railspike can draw are actually significantly less quality in my hand. So it'll be the same. Sick. Let's give Lifesteal to the top line. A little bit more damage to this mid. That gives me the ability to incant here as well. I'll happily hold a Vengeful Shard so that I can draw an additional card here. Shade Splitter for a Rubble Morsel for the bottom line. Pretty ideal. And then 2 more incants for the midline. Nice. Yeah, this could scarcely be going better. I do wonder if I get offered the ability to go Gorge instead of Monstrous 2 for Penumbra, I wonder if I should do that and start gorging on the top line as well. It would be nice if I could actually, you know, utilize a Gorge minion like I kept wanting to. Keep on in, Canton. Ooh, yeah. Here's why I definitely need the capacity. Got double rubble morsel that I can't do anything with right now. Whoa. Thankfully, I've got lifesteal, so I'll full heal after this. I could play the Shadow Siege if only it was one size rather than infinity. Energy Siphon on this line. Wow, wow, wow. I will play the Barrels of Production because keeping it available for my next hand is still going to be energy positive, but I don't have a morsel to play it on, so I am going to be losing some Ember next turn. Tough stuff. Fallen Champion still dies on the next floor, so I don't have to worry about changing my place. If I can get the relic that increases Frostbite when you apply it, that would be so useful for us. Again. I'm going to be M-draining next turn. How dare you? I even have freestanding morsels just ready to be drawn in the deck. Let me get him. Let me get him. Alright, so Titan Sentry dies his turn as well, giving me a... Hang on. Titan Sentry dies his turn as well. Let's run that back. I don't have a unit dying this turn. Also, Titan Sentry dies this turn. Get him with the incants, boys! There's the calcified ember. I'm gonna have you survive significantly longer on the bottom line by getting a guy to eat. Oh no! No, it did survive another round. Okay, cool. We're fine. I'm very slightly concerned about the fact that this line is not killing the boss, which I strongly suspected was going to without additional intervention. That said, I also have the ability to additionally intervene. Trap mitosis gives us the ability to get additional morsels while bypassing size constrictions. Seraph of Dominion. The thing is, Shadow Eater is incredible if you have very consistent morsel generation. Otherwise, it completely abdicates its job. I think I should just continue running the lines that I have at the moment, but the main problem we're going to run into with the lines that I have at the moment is our damage for large units almost exclusively comes from Big Penumbra. And a theoretical future Shadow Siege. Also, despite the mute on the bottom line, I'm pretty sure enemies still sweep, which does mean they would still beat Shadow Eater on the bottom line. How much am I willing to bet on a 50-50 that Penumbra will eventually get the Gorge line? Am I willing to bet the run on it? Well, hang on. No, let's run a different version of this. Is this ever going to be my damage scaling unit? Not really. It's kind of just a frontline defensive unit. It does get a bit larger over the course of the fight, sure, but its Gorge is fundamentally defensive. Same on the in-camp. Same on your Gorge. This solves the same problem that we're already solving with the Titan Sentry. None of those solve new problems for us. I will argue there's a really good, I mean, especially considering the other is the Merchant of Trinkets, there's a really good chance we find someone that wants to stand behind the guard with the Glacial and the Guardian Stone in this Stygian banner, and to be over the moon about it. Multi-strike. Not half bad, but it really depends who holds it. Siren the Sea is more than happy to hold that. Good scaling. Not the best scaling in the game, but it's good. It's good enough. I suspect plus 20 health on one of the seals and damage shield on the other one makes a lot of sense as well. Just so that they don't get swept by something. At least don't immediately get swept by something. Pyro Mains gets us back to full health on the Pyro of Entropy, and then Lightforge. That's not the one we were looking for. There's Monstrous 2. I need that damage so bad. I can't really turn that down. Very, very glad, however, to have also gotten the Siren of the Sea. That's going to be important. Normal enemy units restore 150 health if they move up a floor, which does mean the Ravenous Zealot is effectively just going to get to the top line, at which point they will die to Penumbra, which I'm okay with. I also really want the money. If I can get a Merchant of Trinkets in a couple of lines... Oh, Merchant of Trinkets alongside Forgotten Boons. Nice. That's going to be really important. Hell, I'm probably going to the Merchant of Arms in the next cycle as well. If I can get a multi-striker or something like that for Penumbra, that'd be useful also. This bottom line can happily take a shield suit at this point. It doesn't want it, and it doesn't help, but it can be there. It does help in that it's not in the deck anymore. Yikes. Yeah, I'm not spending my turn playing 3 Vengeful Shards. It's just not going to happen. Ooh, double morsel Jewelaire. Additional health on Penumbra does make a lot of sense on the top line, just so that you don't get taken out by a Ravenous Zealot that's harvested a bunch of damage. There we go. Perils of Production available alongside the Shadow Siege. It's just slightly unfortunate. Well, actually, yeah, I want that energy next turn. Okay, this is a little awkward, but I'm going to chump block with a Spear Steward here, just so that I have the unit dying. Nice. I'm glad I didn't draw both of the totems. I only wanted one this turn. Hey, and we have Shade Splitter as well as a Shroud Mitosis with reduced cost. Great. Great! Rubble Morsel on top line with Shroud Splitter. That's 4 additional energy for the next turn. Hey? Hang on. Why are you alive? You should not be. I quite desperately want to go back and figure that out because this Fallen Execution is going to make it to the top line as well. Granted, did I even really have a chance of stopping that guy? But being able to put more Frostbite on the mid line would certainly help. Gosh. How did I... Did I sap the enemy? Oh, the Guardian Stone! Yeah, no. I'm gonna do all the same sequence of things. I'm not letting that Guardian Stone... I'm not letting that unit survive and go unplayed. That would be pretty tragic in the long term for me, I suspect. I'm happy doing every other play. I'm not fishing for different results or anything like that. In fact, I'd really, really, really like to get exactly the same results for almost everything. Spear Steward, Girls Production. Rail Spike gives me all of them. I'm going to do all of these casts before summoning the Guardian Stone. I can get exactly 1 spell played on that line before the Spear Steward would survive. Alright. Now, we're back in exactly the same position, but I can play the additional Glacial Seal on this floor, which is really important too. I do want pretty much just damage morsels on the top line, ideally. Health's really good for the mid. Short on being able to take out the Executioner, unfortunately. It's going to be the same this turn and next turn as well. Oh boy. It's not going to be a ridiculous amount of higher damage, but I really wish I had have gotten a couple more damage morsels early for the top line there. Oh, it's 24 when one of them gets past me. That's bad, actually. It's pretty bad. Literally 3 short of being able to prevent 24 more damage. Ow. Oh, only 18 that time, thankfully. Yeah, I'm gonna have to siphon you twice and shoot you. But that'll cover it for the next couple of rounds. Whoop. Yeah, not ideal losing 46 health. Okay, your incan trigger is disabled on the bottom line, which is incredible to see. Let's get my Guardian Sentry down there. I mean, it's not an incant floor for me, so it's not where I do my stuff, but... Ooh! Hell yeah. So we're gonna get Shield for this line, Morsel Excavator on this line, then hit it with Shroud Mitosis. Yours is summon and incant. Your summon was prevented? Perfect. Sadly, incant prevention doesn't apply to this line. However, it also doesn't need to. We've already killed them, and they don't even get to go to the top, where I could play another Titan Sentry in defense of the Penumbra as the restless lines are ascending. No reason to play any cards here. Merchant of Trinkets in 2 lines time is going to be a huge power spike for us if it's good. Even if it's okay. Realistically, the threat of it is that it gives me just a bunch of generic relics. If it gives me relics from Umbra, I'm pretty happy about it. Some of the Stygian relics I'm also really happy about. Some of them also do nothing, unfortunately. Excab Eruption, 25 damage to an enemy unit 3 times. No. Press and retrieval, draw a unit, apply +5, X to its damage, and negative X to its costs. I mean, you know, it's a way to zero cost the Shadow Siege if it's not in hand. It also can draw out the Glacial Seals. Obviously, the risk is that I end up playing this for 1 and it ends up drawing the Shadow Siege. Grovel, apply damage shield to a unit, and also get some rare or uncommon morsels. Honestly, for consistency of morsel generation, I think I need to take something like a Grovel in this deck. Curious. I'm pretty much unlikely to get another offering token at this point. Alright. Another Guardian Stone. Not very enthused about that, but I will take it. I do really want to visit a Merchant Magic. I do really want to remove 2 cards from this deck. There's a lot of value in that. A Merchant of Arms getting me a room that's relevant or a weapon that's relevant is impossible to ignore, though. Void Armament. Multi-strike 1 on Extinguish. Gotta make sure I don't let the unit die. Purge this unit from your deck. Obviously, this go on Penumbra. Alternatively, by the by, in the earlier battles, this go on Shield Steward, Spear Steward. This removes them from the deck. Steward's Quarters, an additional capacity, and Trained Stewards gain Multi-strike 1. And +20. Now, let me not overlook the possibility. We can take Steward's Quarters, we can upgrade Steward's Quarters, put it in the opening hand, and then on the first turn, I can throw Titan Sentry and honestly Shield Steward on the bottom line. I could literally do that. That's not impossible. And it also has no deck cost. If it's drawn in my opening hand, it's got 0 cost, it's got no deck cost, it increases the size. By the way, I've been arguing this the whole time. I'm going to be clicking it. Show me Boiler Room. Well, Boiler Room is a huge amount of energy. Just throw it on the bottom line and just reap the benefits. I'll also say Fight Club for the midline, considering I have 5 units there and one of them has multi-strike. That increases the damage of that floor by 90? 90 is pretty significant. Do I care about more energy or 90? I don't have anything to do with my more energy at the moment. But if I have enough energy, it eventually becomes trivial to just collect something that does something busted with that energy. What's my weakness at the moment? Damage. My weakness at the moment is damage. The real competition here is if I do take Boiler Room, where does it go? Bottom line, right? But bottom line is where I wanted to put the Titan Sentry with the Steward's Quarters. Realistically, I can throw the Steward's Quarters on the top line, just so that Penumbra gets some additional space up there. But that's not important. Hell, there's a non-trivial argument that, like, the play is actually Titan Sentry on the bottom line, Steward's Quarters, and then we play Shield Stewards there to actually deal damage. That's an amp of their damage. Fine. Give me the Fight Club. Enemies enter with Frostbite 2 is really cool. However, given our builds, we're already doing that ourselves, so I don't really need to. Sin is solved, however. Blights and Scourges cost 0 in a deck where I am going to eventually have like 8 Blights. Yes, please. I don't really want to merge my equipment with anything, but I do want to reroll here because if I find the Swift Steel Dagger, it's like one of the most important things I could take. That's not a Swift Steel Dagger. I'm not going to, but if I took Hall of Mirrors, then I could play it, assuming I upgrade it, I could play it in the opening hand before I play my Penumbra and just double summon Big Penumbra. The two downsides of that, if I make Penumbra 3rd monstrous, then it's 6 size, and I would have to take another capacity gem in order to support that. Way too much cost. Also, I wouldn't be able to play any morsels to try and support the top line. Alright. You've got Titan Skin and Haste. Those are both going to be completely irrelevant. Cool. Steward's Quarters. I almost want to hold off on playing the Guard of the Unnamed. Gives me the opportunity to play double Shield Steward on the bottom line. But there is also an argument that I should have a Shield Steward and then also some place for morsels. I'm treating this deck like it generates a lot more morsels than it does. Oh, Energy Siphon, perfect. I was about to say, oh no, also your thing is muted. I was about to say, I can't use Entumbra Assault? No! But actually, I very much can, and it's very easy, in fact, because they're all muted. Granted, Spear Steward on this bottom line also would be really good. Alas. Go Morsel Jeweler midline. Spell Weaken You. Then I think it's X-Gav Shroud Mitosis top. Get a bunch of stacks of Lifesteal on a unit where it'll be relevant. Grovel for 12 health on the bottom, and do I? No, I'll just play the other spells on this floor. health and lifesteal for the top? No, I will put health on the mid floor, which gives me the ability to incant here again. Perfect, that'll take him down. One of the next things I need to do is focus on removing cards from this deck. I'm drawing a lot of chaff every turn. I don't want to waste a lifesteal charge hitting that enemy, so I'm going to get a morsel to hit it for me, and then give me another lifesteal charge. So throw Magma Morsel, double Perils of Production on that line, and a little bit more lifesteal for the top. Again, I'm going to take the opportunity to chump block with a Spear Steward. Yeah. No, because I'm really likely to draw the Guard of the Unnamed and want to play it on that floor. Bah. Fine, I'll just use Barrels of Production straight up. Then draw 7 cards and reduce their cost by 1. We finally got our Guard of the Unnamed for the midline. Drop the Fight Club on top of them. I've got another Guardian Stone in here. Yeah, waiting. Yeah, I do think just plus 15 for all of these is good right now. And obviously, if I find nothing better than it, it's good enough. I think a lot of the time, I look at rooms as like make or break. Like, if you don't make my run, you're breaking my run. But if I'm not putting a room on the floor anyway, probably better to have one than not, right? Oh, hold it. That's not the first card we played. We need to use our first Ember to gain morsels. So that'll be it. No, I need the space for the Guardian Stone on that floor as well. So, Tumber Assault. These two are going to have to go top line, which I'm going to be lifestealing anyway, so it doesn't matter if I hit them or not. Then Heralds of Productions, unfortunately, both going to have to go on the top line. Again, missing out on some incants. I want to follow up with Grovel, but I also don't want to leave 2 morsels just loose in the deck. Is that true? No, I should be fine. Shade Split for Rubble Morsel, Barrels of Production, Shade Split again. Yeah, this is a frustration. I really wanted to draw into my Void Armament again so I could use it to remove one of the Spear Stewards on the bottom line. Sadly, not going to get the opportunity here. Alas. We don't do a huge amount of damage to this guy either. Thankfully, the midline should really help us out there, but... not like we've got ridiculous damage on that line either. Alright, we're all good. Titan Sentry goes on the top line just for fun. If I could get anything that triggers when you apply armor, oh my god. How ridiculous this would be. Every spell triggers 10 not 10 applications of armor, sorry. Every spell triggers 12 applications of armor. The 2 additional from Guard of the Unnamed as well. Obviously, if I can find the incant doubling seal, that will be ridiculous. Engine upgrade. Consume reduce size on this floor by 1 additional energy each turn for the rest of the battle. Not especially important, but it could be okay. I think I could easily find an argument to take another grovel so that I can really keep morsel generation supporting Penumbra's line, but Penumbra's going to have less space to take them as well. However, I am also going to eventually start removing Shade Splitters from the deck. Huh. Can I really do that? It's offering me another Glacial Seal, and I have 2 thoughts about it. Number 1, I don't want to do that. Number 2, could I do that? Double Guardian Stone, double Glacial Seal midline. So I don't have the capacity for it right now, which is the obvious restriction. However, there's a couple of different ways I could get the capacity for it, including, obviously, some spells and stuff like that, but I gotta say, we're drawing 8 cards a turn, we're gonna get up to 9, our energy problems are kind of solved by the barrels of production. There's a reasonable argument that the only thing relevant to take at this point is Heaven's Light. Alright. It also, having a second copy of each of them does just mean that I draw them earlier as well, on top of having another copy of them. Merchant of Steel is relevant for a couple of different reasons. Obviously, multi-strike or quick as well for Siren of the Sea would be pretty good. Dualism or Titanite or Mini Stone for the Guard of the Unnamed would all be pretty good. Mini Stone for Shadow Siege, so it's a playable unit. However, I can hit Merchant of Steel, Pyromanes, and Unstable Vortex in the next area, and realistically, I can't just get to the very end, and those are my first trinkets there, right? Like, unit cards without an upgrade cost -1. That plays my Shield Stewards on the first turn for free. Pretty good. 50% chance to apply spell weakness. Sorry, I fell asleep. Wing clippings. Start a battle, summon a morsel miner on each floor. That is after we place our units. That's pretty nice. Artificial Pyre Stone is also there. 3 additional deployment ember. That's only really important if I want to make another piece of equipment deployable at this point because of how the cost of everything else has just changed. I think I just take Commemorative Spike. I think having like an 8/8 additional to each line, as well as just a morsel, is really useful. Let's look at Celestial Alcove and then a couple removals. Tome of Evergrowth for the ability to give Regen 3 Sap 3 to the Titan Sentry every turn does mean eventually it would be regenning a decent amount, but also, what? It's going to be like an average of 3 or 4 turns until I draw it out of the deck, I play it, and then I've got 3 or 4 more turns of applying it. You end up with like regen 9. Maximum okay. Ritual Tome, however, consume to apply Titan Skin 2 to a friendly unit. reducing incoming damage on that unit. Obviously pretty good on the Titan Sentry on the bottom line, but because you have Endless, I'm more than happy to let you die. Really good for keeping the Guard of the Unnamed from dying. Umbra Stone for trample on another unit seems less impactful in a world where I have multi-strike, I have as much reach as I have, and I also already have trample on the Penumbra. Thank you for the Ritual Tome. Realistically, Frozen Lancers are the most garbage card that I have access to right now. They do almost irrelevant damage compared to enemy HP pools at this point. Kale's damage shielding his friends. Thankfully, they're all muted on the bottom line. If I do go capacity for the bottom line, I have the ability next to also play a Spear Steward behind the Shield Stewards. Maybe I just need to buff them a bunch. Because this would be a nice, like, opening line. Nice. Sadly, this Spear Steward has nowhere to be played. With Packed Morsels in hand, I don't have to play Grovel or Entombra Assault, thankfully. Fight Club ups our damage there. I, in fact, only have space for the 3 morsels that Packed Morsels would even generate. And then I can cycle some morsels into the deck from Grovel, maybe? I could see that being an okay idea. Also gives me the ability to select from all of the morsels I generate here for what's relevant on what line. Damage, shield, and health for the Guard of the Unnamed seems most relevant. And damage and lifesteal for the top. So, damage, lifesteal, and shield. Start building spell weakness on Kale. It's going to be irrelevant, but it's going to be irrelevant no matter which target they hit with that. First things first, Shade Splitter to get a Rubble Morsel who will go on top line. Top line? I'm not drawing any more units this turn, right? Midline. So that I can then also play Heralds of Production and then Shrine Mitosis on you. That's a lot of Rubble Morsels, and they're all doing 21 damage apiece. Damn, Fight Club. This is a really good opportunity for me to throw out a Void Armament on a unit that I want to die wearing it, as well as to get power out of it at the same time. If the bottom floor becomes Titan Sentry, a single Shield Steward, and then 2 Spear Stewards behind it, that's the better version of that floor. There's the Shadow Siege. It's got all that size and nowhere to go. Unfortunately, I will have to play Perils of Production on one of my own units. Thankfully, I can play it on someone who I am more than happy to watch to seize. I'm pretty confident I can wait for Kale to take out the bottom line, so I don't need to avoid playing my sharp guy. Wait, that's damage shield? Oof. Hey! Oh no, Frozen Lance isn't going to do anything about that. 15 from there. First things first. Shade Splitter. Midline dealt with. Summon Rubble Morsel on the top line and give it the ability to attack. That's enough to take out that unit. Titan Sentry has to hit the bottom line, and Guardian Stone should hit mid, which should have happened before I played the previous card, but alas. Broken Rail Spike. Draws 4 cards. 2 of them were already 0 costed, but it also 0 costs 2 additional cards for us. Nice. I don't suspect energy is going to be my highest priority next turn, but also Morsel Jeweler on top line isn't that important either, so I'll take the energy in case it's relevant. I think the best way to do this is to summon my own guy on the top line, my own Spear Steward, and then kill it myself so that I can get it out of the deck. It keeps cycling around and I keep not using it. Yeah, the additional capacity makes so much sense when you look at how many shades, how many morsels I'm ready to drop on the field, but just can't. That said, these incant triggers are really precious, so I will still do it. Again, units I can't really do anything with. Hello, buddy. Titan Sentry's back. I think it's a good time for a grovel. Magma Morsel, Magma Morsel. Then produce some perils up there. And grovel to the incant again. Perfect. There goes the Shield Steward from the deck permanently. Yeah, it's lifesteal I care about for that top line. So we'll chump block, Excavator. You can have the Rage because it's irrelevant. But I'll have 3 more copies of you, please. That could not have worked out better if I'd planned it. You can't say that when you planned something, right? That's like exactly the one situation where you can't say it. I guess what I mean to say is that couldn't have worked out better. Glad I planned it. Siren Song. Ascend enemy units on this floor and apply daze 3. I really, really like the idea of being able to do that. Gives us the ability to get additional combat rounds against Dominion. So Dominion only does 3 damage every round in the Titan fight. However, if I send units up that have managed to make it to the top floor with Penumbra, they're up there with 3 rounds of dazed, which causes 3 more rounds of combat where the only unit attacking is the enemy's Dominion, and my Pyre is responding to all of it. This is really powerful for that. Sure. I can do it. I can dig it. We were arguing that it had to be the Merchant of Steel, right? I believe so. No Gorge for the Architect, unfortunately, but we were prepared for the monstrosity. Use size to 1 gives us the ability to play Shadow Siege in the middle of the fight. Whenever I can generate enough energy for it, I can just throw it up on the top line as a big unit. Speaking of big units, the Shield Steward that is played on turn 1 would love to have 14 more damage. And 20 additional health. Realistically, this only wants to go on one of the units that's already been upgraded. Because I don't want to increase the cost of another unit unnecessarily, which actually I also just realized I just literally did. Thankfully, I only need to play 1 Shield Steward on the bottom line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I have enough ammo to play everything I need. Do I need to give you health? Give it to the Guardian Stone. In terms of removing 2 cards from this deck, it feels like primary targets at the moment should be double Frozen Lance. Those energy siphons are not far behind either. In fact, I'll remove one of them as well. I have to keep my money at the moment because while 90 for a single removal seems really neat right now, being 90 away from the perfect trinket in the next won't seem so cool. Non-boss enemy units restore 150 health when they move up a floor. I feel like I can take this. I also feel like the additional 400 gold is really important. Steward's Quarters. Titan Sentry with a single Shield Steward behind it, doing 42 by 2. Guard of the Unnamed, and then a Siren of the Sea behind that. Penumbra hits the top line. Shadow Siege is ready to be a single unit on a single floor, wherever irrelevant. Double Vengeful Shard. Definitely get the Spear Steward for the bottom line. That's exactly where I want to be. Spear Steward number 2. So much damage. We've also already got a target for the Barrels of Production on the first turn, which I spoke a little about the possibility of earlier, and I'm overjoyed to see happen here. Rather than playing a Shade Splitter, it's more important to zero cost more cards and dig deeper into the deck, so I'll be doing that. Working around spike to 7. That's really annoying. I was shade splitting looking for bad morsels, and the worst, like the lowest health morsel I got was the Morsel Minor. I guess instead of playing Entomber Assault for damage, I can just play it for a single incant trigger on that floor. Then midline, you care mostly about health. Top line, you care mostly about damage. Yeah, the additional capacity is so huge here. I've seen a little bit of discussion recently about people wanting the morsels to be pipless, which is to say being able to play them on a floor that doesn't have the capacity to take them. That terrifies me because it means you immediately just take every morsel card in the entire game almost certainly. Like, sure, you're still affected by the 7 card limit, but I've seen it suggested a lot of times for what I feel to be a very obviously flawed suggestion. Imagine having just 5 pips on every floor, putting 2 units on it, and then just the rest of your deck is just infinite morsel generation and eating. Like, it goes from being situational to being the done thing. And I think the more that this game avoids having things that are just the done thing, just the thing that you do because it's the thing to do, because it's the most powerful thing to do, the more impactful and interesting the game is. That's one of the reasons I really liked the... Oh, I'm gonna forget the name of it. It's the upgrade that gave the update to Monster Train 1 that gave unstable shards and the Wormkin clan. Because the shard system basically said, do whatever you want to do. As long as you can justify the risk reward of it, you can make pretty much anything the centerpiece of your build. The fact that so many runs look so different from one another in that system, I really like. And it's exactly the thing that I'm mentioning here. Like, you know, simplifying the system like that, I think, takes away a lot of the enjoyable complexity of this game. I do want to play the Frozen Lance and prevent the Resonant Ruin being added to the draw pile, but also, I could Magma Morsel and Shroud Mitosis, which I will do because it's better. Especially when I've got 500 health units that are going to be coming up. Granted, you took 250 on the bottom line, so that you're not healing all of that. Sadly, we got Shadow Siege before we got the other cards to support it. Void Armament's going to be hard to choose where it goes now. No, it's not. God. It's really annoying, though. I really don't want to have... I really do want to play, rather, the Void Armament this turn. I'm heavily incentivized to go Glacial Seal, Shade Splitter, throw the Frozen Lance. Both of the Glacial Seals have the ability to take out the Collector, so that's a bunch of additional damage there, and also throwing the Fight Club on this line. I think with all of that, I will have enough damage to kill the Avowed Gladiator next floor. No, I am not going to check my maths on that. All right, back in the napkin, we are short. Look for some way to amp that damage if I can. God. 2 damage short of killing that Avowed Gladiator. Please give me attacking morsel. Nope. At least it's only going to hit me in the pyre once or twice. Oh my god. Oh, so frustrating to be 2 damage short. Nothing here can generate 2 additional damage on a whim. If only I had the seaweed. Wait, no, I have seaweed. If only I had the Tome of Containment? I can't remember what it's called. Give your enemies rules of engagement. Is it rules of engagement? Give your enemies 2 frostbite when they enter. It is. Oh my god, Cuddlebeard is the one that I want. When a unit gains frostbite, it gains 2 additional stacks, and frostbite doesn't decay. Hey, bub. What's up? What? Oh, you're leaving. I love you. When are you back? Cool. See you then, bub. Bye. I mean, I really do want to discover that last one as well. Obviously, Incant triggers an additional time pretty good. Yeah, Rules of Containment. Okay, I was halfway between both of its titles. Or both of the titles I applied to it were halfway between it and what it actually is. Now, this is a really good opportunity for me to play my Void Denamement. Or Shadow Siege. Just drop at 200. I think preventing you from being able to rock this top line is really important. I think I could accomplish that both ways here. I think it's probably a better idea for me to use the Void Armament for it right now, though. Drop Frozen Lance on the midline, I suspect. Really wish this had Permafrost on the Siren Song so that I could send the next line up to the top. Yeah, very low on Ember, unfortunately, at the moment. Good, that'll get him. The only unit that I'm capable of killing with a Ensombra Assault right now is my own Spear Stewards, not a target that I want to take down, or the Rubble Morsel. So I'll take down my own Rubble Morsel here, which I should do on the Incant floor. Oh, I also perils that first. Just a couple more casts. Then I'll grovel as well to get maybe higher quality units. I do not get higher quality units. I get the exact same units. Silver Morsel for this line, a little bit more damage, as well as reaches the capacity. Magma, 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 and then Shrouds for 3 more magma. Decent amount of damage with the top line, but realistically, I really did want to get some lifesteal on that, considering the next line that's going to be ascending. Granted, I can just drop Titan Sentry on the top line and then that becomes my defense and then we're completely fine. But I do want you to fight on each floor. Fight on Oh! Shade splits and again. Oh boy, the energy both times. Yikes. Two of them on the bottom, on the top rather. The Discordant Heretics get killed. A Thane is... Well, the Chosen Breaststone gives 300 armor after combat because it survived. And every time it gets hit, it gives boss units +4 damage. So strike, strike, strike. Everyone gets frostbite a bunch of times. Strike, frostbite a bunch of times. Strike, strike, don't take it out, but almost die. Strike, 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 die, strike, die. And then Titan Sentry gets cleared out pretty easily after that. I'm worried the Chosen Breaststone gives so much damage to a Thane that I lose just straight up. Whereas, as it's currently set up, kill, kill, attack, die. Wait, yeah, we only attack once, so we only give 4 damage to the enemies. Of course, both the Discordant Heretics manage to survive that line, which is probably the worst part of it. Granted, if I cast any spells on the floor, on the next floor, I'm capable of taking them out, but also you will incant for spike application as well. I think not buffing a Thane is incredibly important. I think I can deal with spikes on the next floor because the spikes are immediately opposed by the Guardian Stones as well. I'm also going to take this opportunity to cast as many additional spells on this floor as is humanly possible. And then top floor. Do I want to develop the Titan Sentry yet? Or no, I have to. Yeah, I have to, otherwise. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that I have it when I need it. Titan Sentry dying this turn is ideal. Oh, this Chosen Breaststone just entered this turn as well because the other one was left on the previous floor and this is a new one. So it's also muted. Yay. Giving me the ability to do a little more incanting than I otherwise might. Nice. A single stack of lifesteal for that top floor is also really relevant. Obviously, the run is immediately over if the my top liner dies. Yeah. Doesn't even die before the Titan Sentry. Hell, do I wanna do it? I know Titan Sentry's here. Look, I could even Siren Song you. Oh no, I can't. If I Siren Song you, you move this floor, and then Penumbra dies, so I'd lose my treasure. There you go. Let's summon a tiny little Shadow Siege. He's just a little guy. You're just, a tiny little guy. Give trample to a Shadow Siege. Could be relevant, but I think maybe just having the, like, if this against other options, like, you know, the one that we ended up taking, Ritual Tome, which actually I am kind of underwhelmed by at the moment, but we'll talk about this for the moment. This against options that I'm not going to take, I'll take it. Against the better option, Ice Tornado with Permafrost. Crystalline Seeds apply Frostbite 8 to enemy units on consume. I mean, Frostbite 8 is okay. Unless I'm, like, drawing from playing it, though, it doesn't really have much value in this deck. Titan's Tooth, yeah, if I had an offering token. Right, so... I don't think Merchant of Arms upgrade is especially relevant right now. I think I hit up the Merchant of Magic. I think the additional health and the double card removal is really important. I think it's unlikely I end up really benefiting from spell upgrades there. Obviously, the absolute best that I could hit would be consume removal for the Awoken Spike, so that every single cycle I'm drawing for 7. Fossilized Fangs, Gorge triggers an additional time. Wouldn't that be great? To have a unit that gorges. Emot Tome. Create an ephemeral copy of the first spell you play each turn. Now that is a card. Especially with the Barrels of Production on holdover, a lot of the time it's just going to be 3 additional energy for me each turn, as well as another incant trigger, which is real hard to argue against, and in situations where I need it to be something else, like, you know, more Ritual Tome, another Trample, maybe a second Shroud Mitosis, it can be those 2. Teeth of Gold, 5 damage to the back enemy when a unit is eaten. Not relevant. That's reach, but I have so much reach. No. No, I will not be taking Volatile Gauge. I'm already drawing 9 cards a turn. Thank you kindly. Oh, after this battle, I'll even get another one and I'll be drawing 10 cards a turn. I do want Shadowbox. When you play your 20th morsel unit of a battle, deal 200 damage to all enemy units on all floors. I feel like it's often quite useful, comes in clutch, but... Oh my god. Consume removal from Awoken Rail Spike, Permafrost for Siren Song to be held for the right hand. -1 cost does matter for a couple of these, just courtesy of the fact that the Awoken Rail Spike is going to consistently be hitting. So having my 2 costs reduced to 1 cost means they're playable after that, which is pretty relevant. Do I take Shadowbox? Yes, please. I'll take Shadowbox. I'll also take the -1 for a Grovel, and I'll give +10 to Entumbra Assault. Then for removing cards from the deck, we get a Energy Siphon and a Frozen Lance out of here. Sick. This is a good deck. I like this a lot. If I died of something I haven't foreseen, that will be sad, but I will still be happy to have played this deck. Those are exactly the positions I love to be in. I will chump block as many times as I can so that I don't have to deal with the applied corruption and then doubled corruption. However, you're muted this turn, so I don't need to do that right now. Hell, I can daze you for 3 turns, which I should do. Right now, in fact, to prevent you from doing any of your corruption for the next couple of turns. Oh, that's going to be so good. It's Guardian Stone and Guardian Stone for the midline. Oh, this is so interesting. Because Emote Tome's going to dupe the first spell that I play. I think I just daze Seraph Eternus for 6 turns. Six turns of no attacks from you, buddy. Then I can use Barrels of Production on the Morsel Miner that's already summoned in order to get additional energy, and then just keep going with the rest of my turn. Also, all of these units having their corruption application muted on the bottom line is really important. Means the Titan Sentry is going to survive a lot longer. Should I give you Ritual Tome for that same reason? No. God of the Unnamed still wants that. That said, I can throw a bunch of health morsels down there. Damage shield's not especially relevant for the top line. The additional health is okay. I'll throw one of them up there and then one on the bottom. Shame. No perils, so I can't play the Shadow Siege. It's not perilous enough to play the Shadow Siege. Double Spear Steel of the bottom line, though. Works out well. And this is an excellent opportunity to play out that Void Armament. I don't get to play any spells that turn, unfortunately, so I don't get to benefit from the Emote Tome, but somehow I think I'll get over it. I get to use Emote Tome every other turn. Glacial Seal's ready for the midline. Unfortunately, I can't play Shroud Mitosis first, which I would really prefer to play it first if possible. Yeah, so the Emote Tome's also not going to do too much this turn. Additional energy. I'll say the damage. No, the additional energy is relevant right now, especially considering I know in my next hand I'm drawing the Awoken Railspike. And my holdover Perils of Production. This is going to be incredible. Lay out all the shards. Oh, nice. Titan Sentry is dying on the bottom line, so I can double the Barrels of Production on you. Then play a Fight Club, and I'll play out the other two so that then I can play a full Awoken Railspike. Drop an Antumbra Assault for you. Excellent. Also Excavator. You're still not attacking, courtesy of that Daze. Draw 10. Great. So play the Shade Splitter and then draw 9. As well as reduce all of their costs by 1. Oh, Siren Song, ready to do it again? Thanks, buddy. 3 more turns of Dazed on Seraph Eternus. You don't get to play, buddy. It's not for you. I can't believe we both fished both Morsel Excavators after that as well. I couldn't have asked for something better. That's a bunch of lifesteal for the Penumbra on the top line. Drop some additional damage and lifesteal for the Shield Steward, and Rubble Morsel in the midline. Pumps out 15 damage to the enemy. Perfect. Titan Sentry's ready to go back on the bottom line. Realistically, doubling barrels of production this turn doesn't help me that much. That said, I have 2 Grovels in hand as well, so that's not necessary either. Maybe I should give Trample to the Titan Sentry. Or Shield Steward. Just because Titan Sentry would push through both Misshapen Fiends, but Shield Steward would also be able to push damage. Okay, yeah, Shield Steward, you're going to get Trample, and I think I'm also going to give Trample to the Titan, the Siren of the Sea. Damage for the top line, Morsel for the middle. Oh, there's the Morsel Blitz going off. Nice. Then give that Morsel a bunch of damage. Give Trample. Damage shield just immediately gets negated on the top line courtesy of the corruption, so I may as well use it on a line that I'm getting the incant triggers as well. Two additional morsel spots and 2 additional morsels. I'm really like pleased with exactly how often we have exactly as many morsels as we have blank spaces for them. Suggests that the deck is quite well balanced. Welcome back, Awoken Railspike. I'll be doubling up on Perils of Production this turn, ideally. None of my units are dying. Damn. Yeah, I can't afford to do that in a different way right now. Shade Splitter. 2 0-cost Shade Splitters. Rubble Morsel on the midline with Perils of Production for the incant trigger. Magma Morsel to clear hand. And then Awoken Railspike draws 7 right now. Yep. I'm just reducing the Shadow Siege 1 every cycle. Unfortunately, even the Perils of Production is not going to get us close enough to be able to play it right now. Rubble and a Morsel Jeweler, and a little bit more incant. Yeah. Lifesteal's more important for the top line. Not being able to play Perils of Production for the double emote tome before I've also got a morsel generated is proven a little tough. That said, I don't need all the energy from it this turn, so don't know why I should be planning around that. Oh, of course. I'll emote tome the double Siren Song and get 6 more turns of Seraph does nothing, thank you. I can't believe I forgot that. Especially because the Penumbra on the top line has multi-strike. It's really important that I am hitting Shroud Mitosis on the Morsel Excavator for the additional lifesteal, because it spends 2 lifesteal every time it tries to attack. Okay, bottom line is going to die this turn. That's the bottom line. Giving me the ability to go ham for energy. Oh, no. Shadow Siege, unfortunately, is not in hand with the Perils of Production, so I can't play you despite your 3 cost. 3 cost 1 size. I'm gonna take you on a tour. You get to visit the end of the game. You will not be involved in it at all, though. You can at best be present. Yeah, that 42 corruption on guard is really cutting through you. Thankfully, it's worth noting the Siren of the Sea is also very healthy. I can absolutely just save Siren Song until it's relevant, if it's relevant. Oh my god. We just get to beat him for a bunch of free turns there. Oh, we already went on midline. I was trying to shape up ways to play on the top line here. Get him! I'm gonna try and keep my frontline unit alive if I can here. It's gonna be really hard. We're fighting so uphill against that corruption. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do it. That's okay though. I'll happily accept a win. base. And that is our 10th. Yep, 10th Vengeful Shard, so we'll be drawing 10 cards a turn. We draw an additional card for every 2 shards in the deck. 5 by base, plus 5, 10. Easy setup. Ooh. This is an interesting one. I'm gonna play the Awoken Railspike first and get a second copy of it, because I mean the second copy always gets to draw at least one, but unfortunately we didn't hit it. If the second copy had hit one of the Perils of Production, I would be able to play that and then play the next Awoken Railspike to continue drawing. This Siren Song, I can either use it to invalidate Dominion, prevent you from being able to apply 5 corruption to the front friendly unit each turn, but realistically, because that corruption isn't being multiplied by anything, I don't think it's that relevant to us. We still play the next Awoken Railspike, obviously. Yeah. Comes down to kind of how much do I want to chump block. And I can chump block the, you know, a Rubble Morsel will take 5 corruption and then 20 damage from entropy. So they're much better utilized like that at the moment. Granted, I don't care about the Time Sentry because you just... You want to die. I summon you back healthier than ever before. Lifesteal and damage feels appropriate for the top floor, but also I will keep corruption off you if I have the option. I do think double Entomber Morsel for the bottom line also makes a lot of sense. Because the Titan Sentry will come back with the additional HP, I believe. What do I want a second copy of here? Double Grovel is 15 and 20, so a lot of additional health on the God, the Unnamed there. Also, I desperately want all these additional morsels. Chump with damage shield on the top line, and then go for lifesteal, lifesteal. Then midline, I don't need to chump because you trample with your damage. Unless I want to chump a Mag Morsel just for the 5 corruption, which is not that relevant too. That Chosen Assassin is going to be a concern for the bottom line, obviously. I suspect there's nothing I can do about it, though. Oof. Becomes a lot worse when it gets to the midline. Okay, you'll be ascended, which will daze you. I don't need to do that. I don't need to daze savagery. I could. Okay. I think I know what I need to do here, and it's play as many morsels as I can so that next turn I can play enough morsels to trigger Shadow Box to kill Chosen Assassin. Our bottom floor is going to disappear. I can't do anything about that. I can't prevent that from happening. I'm going to lose so much damage from that bottom line. That's going to be really unfortunate. About 100, 150 damage overall. Ends up getting lost from that bottom line every round. Single rubble morsel. Only blocks 5 corruption from that top line, so we'll hit midline so that we can go for the incant triggers. Another Shade Splitter gives me Antumbra for the top. So I need to play 4 more morsels next turn. Given what I already know I'm drawing next turn, not a problem. I can just double up Grovel. Also, it wants me to play the morsel, right? Not summon the morsel. Yeah, create 3 friendly copies, I don't think is going to trigger it. I can't believe it. The Grovel's on the bottom of the deck somehow. That midline's going to have a lot of trouble. I really hope Shroud Mitosis is somehow capable of doing the thing that I know it is not. Nope, it triggers your morsel beats. When you play your 20th morsel of the battle, and those are created copies. I would have assumed that create copy, especially if it puts it on the field, bypasses the play trigger. It still would trigger summon, but I don't think it would trigger play. Obviously, I'm not going to argue against it right now. It's really important that just happened. Thank you. However, now knowing that mechanic, we will take that turn in a different direction. How different a direction? Our damage isn't incredible on Savagery. I can get 9 mana this turn, which gives me the ability to summon the Shadow Siege if I focus on Perils first, but I also can't do that without taking Ember Drain the turn after. I don't want to take Ember Drain at all. I do like the idea of doubling up Napia's Light. I don't think I can afford to do that. I think I still have to take the Shadow Splitter as my first. Despite pretty desperately not wanting to. Highlights Ephemeral and Void Armament is damage. Okay, so now Entropy is taking damage. Hand Over Fist is really, really struggling here. Shadow Siege is available this turn. Good to see. I think Shadow Siege is probably one of the weaker plays I can make here. Again, unless a unit is dying, I don't really want to put the Barrels of Production on at the moment. So I really need to get a Morsel first, and then target that Morsel, which means it'd be Shade Splitter, Morsel, Barrels of Production, additional Shade Splitter, additional Morsel, and Shadow Siege. That's my whole turn. No. It's much more impactful here if I spend as much time as possible casting on this midline and bypassing the Shadow Siege. So I think the way that I do that is I dupe Ritual Tome. So I play Ritual Tome first, then I play Shade Splitter, get a Morsel unit. I will put the Morsel unit in the front line to prevent against the corruption. Unfortunately, that's a lot worse for Shroud Mitosis, though. It's okay. If I grovel on the midline, I can also prevent another 23 damage. Nice. And those are some good morsels for the top line. Not being able to play Biolight on that turn is certainly not great, but I can Emote Tome Biolight on future turns, and Siren Song, if I ever send a unit up to the top line with it, is going to be a huge amount of damage to Dominion, so the damage that Biolight does is a little less impactful to me right now. Hey, perfect. Finally a turn where I can play the Barrels of Production first. Unfortunately, it's also a turn where I really don't want to do that. Chosen Ardent on the second line, I think, should probably stop me from incanting there. Yeah. Which means I double Pyolite, I guess? No, I'll play Siren's Song, sorry, next turn. Which means Dominion's like already way lower on HP effectively than the other two. So I think I should probably focus on just summoning more morsels then. Obviously, I still play Highlight, I just don't double play it. That'll do. There go all of my stewards. Thankfully, Titan Sentry is still going to be defending the bottom line. Double Umber Stone still. I don't have good targets for double Umbered Stone. Okay, start with Pyrelite. It'll get duped. Then I play Grovel. Let's go Chump Block Antumbra is the Perils target. Enough to keep the Guardian of the Anund alive. We'll throw Firelight. Shade Splitter. Umbra Stone on the only target that cares about it right now. Then Siren Song for this top line so that I can get many more rounds of combat on Dominion. Dominion will basically be dead by the end of that. Oh wow, there's actually only one additional round of combat up there because of it. Wait, I also could have played Firelight after that. Oh, that's funny. Although I don't want to play it after that because I do want there to be a round of combat. Finally, the Fight Club! Been lacking you for a while, buddy. I mean, double Perils of Production's the easiest job of all time for the bottom line right now. Especially because of the Awoken Rail Spike. Definitely the right play. Let's have luck with Magma Morsel and then see what we do with the rest. I got all of my energy generation back as well as just nothing to spend it on. Yeah, sadly I can't get enough armor to keep the Guard of the Unnamed alive here. That's okay, though. Realistically, all you are is the ability for the Siren of the Sea to set up, because after a certain point, you are just health. You are simply a stat stick. And I'll get some additional energy given to me next time. It's looking like I may have to stop sapping my own units intentionally to avoid pyre damage. So that would be playing the Curse Entropy here. Yeah, they're killing the Titan Sentry on the top line, giving me the ability to double play the Perils of Production. Nice. I have to get the Curse of Entropy out of my hand just for space's sake. I suspect Magma Morsels are going to be really relevant to this mid line. Looking around, Spike draws 9 cards and 0 costs all of them. I can't let Savagery survive, or rather, I can't let Titan Sentry survive. Also, Savagery takes more damage on this floor than any other floor. Sadly, the best target for Entombra Assault is my own. That's okay. Ooh, that's a lot of damage shield. It's more important I get Lifesteal Shrouded for the top line. Grovel for some additional HP. I don't want random morsels in this deck at the moment. I mean, I can Siren Song to avoid having to even fight on this floor, as well as deal the damage directly to Entropy. Realistically, we win when Savagery comes back up to the top line. Titan Sentry on bottom line. Double up the Perils of Production. And I can finally do it! We can finally play the Shadow Siege actually for real. It's going to be on the field and everything. Highlights obviously irrelevant at this point. I could Siren Song you up and then Pyrelight those units, but they're also going to be days for 3 turns, so it doesn't need to happen. Giving me the opportunity instead to grovel. Sadly, they silenced me on that floor, so I'm not getting my incant triggers. Boo-hoo-hoo. Get out of here. You know what? Titan Sentry again. Savagery, if you're going to be dealing 35 by 4 damage, I'm just going to brick wall it constantly. Almost. Great. So now I can play... And you. Drop that morsel on the bottom line, and... Rail Spike ourselves a whole new hand. All right, buddy. You want to meet me on the top line, Savagery? I have something to tell you. Let the Penumbra get taken out of the deck here? I think not. I think we must give the Titan Sentry its due. Grovel for a couple more stats. There we go. That's exactly what I want to do with him. Working around Spike just to draw a bunch more cards as well. Before that, yeah, Siren Song doesn't help me here. I want you to stay on this floor for the sake of the killing. And I'm just going to get a ridiculous amount of morsels on the bottom line because we can, dang it. I'll avoid 3 damage as well. For the same reason. Hell yeah. 4 totems on the same floor. The Steward's Quarters. Just chugging along. I didn't even have to invest that heavily into it. I just had to buy the Steward's Quarters. I had to make it deployable. It sounds like I'm building up like a high cost for it, but it's actually like 110 gold by that point. And then just play mostly unupgraded Stewards. This was, what, another 20? Compared to its impact, ridiculous. Penumbra also very, very, very handy that you got that multi-strike. I cannot overstate how important you having that multi-strike from the Void Armament was. Otherwise, we would have been sending a lot more enemies to top line. I don't know if that would have managed to kill us, but it would have been a lot scarier. And then Shadow Siege, the tiny little mascot of this run. What really exemplifies this run? I mean, you can always just throw an incant minion that's incanted a bunch into there. But realistically, the Steward's Quarters held incredible. Like, we had a lot of scaling power over the course of this run, so having immediate power, courtesy of both Penumbra just being big and large, and the Steward's Quarters for the bottom line giving us additional capacity as well as the additional multi-strike, I think was make and break for this. Just a lot of good tools in this deck. Also, Emot's Tome, incredible work as well. Shadowbox ended up maybe not saving the run, but certainly helping us out a lot. That said, like, so much of this run does come down to being able to replay a Titan Sentry I got in the first round constantly. Good boy. Good big boy. Big, big boy. Realistically, it's a double capacity gem run. It's probably the most unique thing about this compared to how I usually play. We managed to take full advantage of that full capacity. Shadow Siege earns its frame despite just cheerleading from the sidelines mainly. Another clan combination completed right there. We will head back to our outpost, recognizing that both of them are MT1 clans. We're not going to get another scene, but I will say that my name is Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Monster Train 2. Top left is a series playlist for all my content on the game past, present, and future. YouTube recommendations down below. Streaming past are the names of the people so generously supporting the Republic on patreon.com/RhapsodyPlays. I don't bother to thank you, and a special thanks this episode to Zoe. Hopefully you'll have been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully see you all next time.